The next one is the study permit route. And this obviously is for international students. Anybody who wants to come to Canada, who wants to come and study in Canada, this is the route that you have to follow. And when you come in as a student, it's a temporary resident pathway. Coming to Canada as a student does not make you a permanent resident. Somebody asked me this question, and that's the way it works. When you come in as a student, your status is like somebody who is coming in as a visitor. The only difference is that a visitor is supposed to come and go, while you as a student, you're supposed to come, study, and leave. That is the idea, okay? Until you change your status to permanent, you have no permanent stay in Canada, and that is the obvious truth, okay? After your study in Canada, you can apply for what is called postgraduate work permit. Okay, and let me just digress a little bit here. For very many people who are going to the UK, I have nothing wrong with people going to the UK, but it's very expensive, very expensive. And for those who have gone to the UK, for them to apply for this kind of postgraduate work permit. Now, what a postgraduate work permit means is that after you have completed your study, and you want to work full-time in Canada, you are done with your master's, or you are done with your diploma, and you want to stay back in Canada to work, you have to apply for postgraduate work permit. In Canada, the application fee is not more than $150 for you to apply, and you are not paying for your family, it's only you, okay? But as I've heard from the UK, you have to pay £1,000 for yourself and each of your family member. And even now, one of my friends in the UK has told me that it is now £2,000. I don't know how far that is true, that you have to pay not only for yourself, but for every member of your family. So it's cheaper in Canada to get your postgraduate work permit. And you can convert to PR from within Canada after acquiring because you're a temporary resident as a student. So your transition to permanent residence is not automatic. Number one, you still have to apply for it. And in apply for permanent residence, you still have to meet the requirement for permanent residence. And that's why for those who are applying for permanent residence, as after they are done with their studies, some of them want to go through what is called the Canadian Experience class. The Canadian Experience class is also one of those application routes under the Express Entry for those who are applying from within Canada. And so because that is under the Express Entry, you still have to do IELTS, even though you are inside Canada. You still have to submit your document for credential evaluation and all those things. So you still have to meet those rules, except if you are now going through provincial nominee program, because that's another option. So for people that come to study in Canada, they have more options. As a matter of fact, it's a very good option to start, especially if you know you cannot apply to Canada directly as permanent resident like I did, like so many people I know have done. If you think that is going to take a longer time for you, or if you think that may be too expensive for you to do for now, and you prefer to come in as a student, it is fine, it is perfect. Come in as a student, complete your studies, and you can either use Express Entry, you can either use provincial nomination. If your school is in the Atlantic area part of Canada, you can use the AIP that I discussed. If the community where you are studying, or if the province where you are studying have one of the rural and other immigration pilot program, you can use that. So students have a lot of options that they can use to transition from temporary resident to permanent resident. And I explain all this in the blueprint also.